Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Wednesday, May 8th, 2019. Welcome to another episode of the Drew Yari Show. I am your host, Drew. Last name, Yari. I sound like I'm in a good mood. I'm in an okay mood. Today's been kind of odd. Well, not odd in a bad way, just odd. Let's see, I wake up pretty early. I wake up and me and my girlfriend, we were almost scared to death. We kind of pull up the blanket and we see our cat literally right between us. So we're like, oh shit, did we smush her to death? But we pick her up and we're like, Pepper, are you alive? That's her name, Pepper. And she's kind of opening her eyes like, ugh, yes, now put me back to sleep. She has that weird knack of wanting to sleep literally between us, like a child. Our cat Evie will come in and just sleep on top of the bed, on the very top of the bed near the window. And then other cats will just sleep next to her feet or whatever. She literally likes to sleep between us. And there are times where I'll wake up and I think I freaking smushed her. I mean, granted, I'm positive if I was going to do something to her, she would have woke up. She would have screamed or, bit me or clawed me. But, still, it scared the shit out of me and she was literally under our blankets because we recently, yesterday, we just got our air conditioner put in, and you can probably hear it. So, that's great, especially with summer coming in, because we told our landlord that we needed at least an AC, and, they had also told us there's a possibility that they could put, cooling ducts in. And I might have said that wrong, but ACs are fine. We have 3 in the house. There's one in her mom's old room, and there's one in the kitchen, which is kind of the main one, which is what I'm feeling right now. So, because before we were just constantly putting on fans everywhere, and this microphone I have, is so goddamn sensitive that you put on a fan and it kind of corrodes the sound. Because basically all you hear is just me talking. You'll just hear shh. So, and it's easy to edit. But, still, now I can just turn the fan off and not have to sweat the whole time I'm talking. Because now I have AC. Awesome. So, yeah, last night it was nice and, nice and chilly in the house. So I guess that's why she was sleeping under the blanket. It was that cold for her. But, there was that, and I also got a second job, for the summer. Bills, man. They're the death of me. They're the death of us. It's one of those weird situations where me and my girl, we have enough money to pay bills. We have a lot of money to pay bills, but when it comes to being able to maybe spend something on ourselves, it's shit. We just bought groceries, we just paid the light, we just paid the water, internet bill, rent. We have nothing. So we have a nice little place to live. We're not it's not like we're on the verge of living in a box on the street. Again, we do very well for ourselves. We're able to pay our bills on time. Well, ish, but we're able to pay our bills and keep a roof over our heads, keep the lights on. Keep the water going, when we want to take a shower or wash our dirty clothes. But if we want to have one of those nights where it's hey, do you want to just go out just because, go to the movies, go out to dinner, anywhere. It's fuck, we have to pay this. So, hopefully this second job, can, not always leave, me or us broke. So it is what it is. I'm not going to say where I'm working. But, it's basically it'll be a seasonal job. It'll just be a job for the summer, which is fine for me. I have a lot of big things coming up this summer. Me and her anniversary is coming up on the 26th of June. That'll be 7 years, which is awesome. It's 3 more years and it'll be a whole freaking decade. That's amazing. Then you got her birthday on July 4th. Literally, her birthday is on July 4th. And I believe her birthday is like it's going to be literally the week after our anniversary. So our anniversary is going to be on a Wednesday, and her birthday is going to be on a Thursday, which is 4th of July. That's going to suck trying to get that day off. I'm pretty sure I can get it off of my other job. This new job, I don't know if they'll let me off because that's going to be the busiest day of the year. So we'll see what happens. And then you got my birthday, July 17th. I'll be the big 30. I'll be turning 30, the dirty 30, which is just amazing to think of because it just seems like yesterday that I started high school. Which, I mean, technically not. I mean, granted, not literally yesterday, but it seems like yesterday when I started high school or when I started middle school. It's weird. It's weird whenever I think about the past, like it just happened yesterday. It's just odd. Like, I'll be like, hey, remember that one time when we were waiting for the bus and we were talking about, the Spurs and Tony Parker scoring a game-winning 3 against the Dallas Mavericks at Dallas. Like, that's just crazy. It's crazy to think about things that happened that long ago, but you feel like it just happened yesterday. Like, that's insane. I have a lot of good memories from that time. So turning 30 it's amazing. It's crazy. I mean, because I always make the joke about myself. I make an inside joke about myself that I think my life started in my 20s. Like whenever I was in my teens, I don't think I fully developed as a person. Not down there, but as a person. I don't think I fully developed as a person because I was still trying to find my niche in life. I was trying to find who I was in life. Because I was always trying to piggyback off of other people and try and copy them when, it helped that I had good friends along the side, along for the ride. And then when I turned 20, I feel like that's when life literally began. Because when I turned 20, that's when I got my driver's license. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 20. Before that, I would always walk everywhere, or I would always get rides. And then after that, is when I got promoted for the first time. I got a manager position. What's it called? Started going to college, community college when I was 22. I graduated when I was 26, and I just got my bachelor's from my college, University. I'll say the college, University of Texas San Antonio, great school. Just got my degree there at the age of 29, and I'm about to be 30, and I'm still thinking about heading back to school. Maybe doing grad school. I got these damn loans coming up. So that's going to be fun to take care of. So, I mean, who knows what life has for me in my 30s. Maybe my life is still just beginning at 30s. I mean, at the same token, I look at all my other friends, and they've accomplished so much in their 20s that I'm just barely now starting to get in my 30s. And in my head, I always think, I try not to think about it as a race. Because if you try and think of life as a race, like you're trying to keep up with other people, it's not going to work out for you. You need to keep up at your own pace. Even if it's not as fast as other people, because you're not always going to have the same advantages as other people. Not trying to say my friends are rich and they've had better advantages than me. I would just say a lot of them, I guess, made better choices when they were in their teens, and they were able to use those tools and those better choices, and use them in their 20s. Whereas I had tools that are literally sitting right in front of me as a teenager, but I chose to kind of brush it off to the side and take advantage of it. As a teenager, I'll just admit it, I sucked. I wasn't a very good person as a teenager. I was kind of an asshole. To a lot of people, to friends, to family. I mean, I don't want to get too personal on the show, but I mean, I still kind of am. I'm just, I don't know. It's just, back in the day, I wasn't always the best person to be around. And it just seemed like anytime I had an advantage, or I had, some help from people, I would kind of squander it. And, looking back on it, I still look back on all the dumb decisions I made, and, people I hurt back in the day. And granted, a lot of them, will tell me, dude, it's okay, don't worry about it. That was then, this is now. But still, that's just me. When I think I'm being mean to somebody, later on I'll think about it, and I'm like, ugh, why did I have to do that? Like, I could have worded that better. I could have, done something better. I try to have this notion about me that I'm a tough guy, which I'm really not. I'm a big sensitive kid. I'm pretty much a puss. Like, I'm a puss. I cry about everything. I cry to movies. I cry to TV shows. I'll even see like stupid commercials and I'll start crying. But yeah, just back in the day in my teens, I wasn't very bright. I didn't take advantages of the gifts I was given. Because looking back on it, I'm not trying to act like a badass, but if I kind of had the same mentality that I have now that I did have back then, I think I would have made things a lot easier on myself, especially in high school. Because my problem is I didn't study. I was always lazy. I didn't want to study. I would kind of half-ass study. Same thing with projects. Instead I would just go on the internet, go on MySpace, or just watch TV instead of do my homework. And I barely graduated. And by barely, I mean barely. I'm starting to think the school just felt sorry for me, and they're like, you suffered enough, just let him go. But, I wasn't a very good student back in the day. Not to say I'm the best student today, but, as soon as I got to college, I realized, okay, I'm paying for this, so I'm going to have to set my game up. Because that's the mentality of college and high school. High school was more just like, they like to instill that fear in you of, this is going to impact you for the rest of your life. If you fuck this up, you will fuck up for the rest of your life. Whereas college is like, you're paying for this, so you can do whatever the hell you want. So, before I got financial aid in college, I was paying out of pocket. So I really had to set my game up. And I did. I studied like a madman a lot. There would be nights where I would literally pull all-nighters. And I've never pulled an all-nighter for anything that wasn't a video game or trying to watch softcore porn on Cinemax. And I would study like a madman all night, and it paid off because I was getting good grades in college. The work definitely got harder as soon as I got to UTSA. But again, it paid off because I got my degree. I have 2 degrees now, which, not to rub it in anyone's face, but, I'm the first one in my family with 2 college degrees, other than my parents. Hopefully they don't listen to the show. I love you guys, by the way. But, that's probably the first time I've gotten personal on this show. Wow. Like, I know I try not to get personal, guys. I'll try not to get too personal in future episodes, but I just wanted to get that off my chest. I know when I start shows, I'll usually just start with, hey, I'm Drew Yari, A, B, C, and D. Okay, let's get into the news. It's a good 13 minutes of me being personal. That's personal times with Yari. I might even make that a segment for the show. So let's talk about news. So yesterday, actually not yesterday, Monday was the Far From Home trailer, Spider-Man Far From Home sequel, the sequel to Homecoming, which it pretty much revealed, and we already knew that it was going to pretty much take, minutes after Endgame. Because when you saw in Endgame, Peter came back to high school and he met with Ned, which Ned still looked exactly the same age that we saw him in, Infinity War. And it was revealed, I think, by the directors that not just Peter, but all of his friends and Aunt May were all snapped. So that's why they all still look the same way they did in the last movie. Because they were literally all snapped and they were brought back. And anyone else that he went to high school that wasn't snapped, they moved on, because it's a 5-year time jump. So they moved on, they're probably in college or whatever. So in the trailer, it starts off very sad. You see Peter saying, everywhere I go, I see him. And, it obviously talking about Iron Man, spoilers. Iron Man dies at the end of Endgame. And then him and Peter have that nice little scene where Peter's telling him, Mr. Stark, we won. So, yeah, Peter sees literally murals everywhere of Iron Man because, like Thanos said, I hope they remember you. And they did. They remembered Tony. They remembered Iron Man. And, Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau, was in the movie. And Jon Favreau sees Peter, is talking to Peter on the plane. It looks like Peter is literally, he has a crying face on, and Happy's telling him, I miss him too, but I forgot how he worded it. He wouldn't have died knowing you weren't going to be here. Or he wouldn't have done what he did if you know you weren't going to be around. So, and then it shows, Peter kicking ass in, the iron Spidey suit. So he's on vacation, and then there's a scene where, Nick Fury is calling him, and then Peter's telling Happy Hogan, I don't want to talk to Nick Fury right now. Hangs up on Nick, and then Happy's telling him, you do not ghost Nick Fury, because now I gotta talk to him. So while they're in Europe, him and Ned, it showed the scene from the first trailer where Nick Fury, I guess, shot him in the neck with a tranquilizer gun. And then here he's telling him, you're a very hard man to get hold of, Spider-Man, and then he brings him to his, I guess, a new S.H.I.E.L.D. underground lair. So here's where kind of the plot thickens of the movie, of what the movie's going to be all about, or how Endgame, another way how Endgame, impacts this movie. You see Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck, a.k.a. Mysterio, and Nick Fury introduces Peter to Quentin, and then Quentin tells him, we could have used somebody like you in our world. And Peter says, our world? And Nick Fury goes on to explain, after the snap happened, there was a rip in our dimension. So I'm not sure what snap he's talking about. I don't know if he means the first snap or when Tony snapped. Or when Hulk snapped and then Tony snapped. So I'm not too sure which snap he might be talking about. But, and then, it goes on to explain that there's a multiverse. And they posted a clip of that scene where what's it called? Quentin Beck is explaining to Peter, the Earth you guys live on right now is 616. I was on Earth, and I'm forgetting the name. I think it was like 1311, I believe. Anybody out there can correct me, but they're introducing the notion of the multiverse, which is going to be fucking huge, especially I think for the Fox deal, but we'll get to that in a bit. Basically, the end of the trailer just shows, Mysterio in the fishbowl helmet, which looks pretty fucking cool. And then you see Spider-Man kicking ass, and there's a funny line where Peter's trying to tell Nick, I don't think I'm the right guy for this. What about Thor or Captain Marvel? Which is, I don't know if that'll be in the trailer. They'll probably edit that out. Everything in the trailer usually always is in the movie. But he refers her as Captain Marvel, and they all tell her they're both unavailable. They're both out of world. And, Peter's telling Nick, I'm just in a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and then Nick tells him, bitch, please, you've been in space, which is true. So that's the end of the trailer. July 2nd, tickets already came out. I got my tickets. So for the multiverse, like Mysterio explained, the current, MCU Earth is 616. And then there's other Earths. I forgot which Earths he said he's from, but how this could maybe impact, future movies like maybe X-Men or whatever. I think that's maybe a perfect way to introduce the X-Men or the Fantastic, because I know John Draper. Shout out to John Draper, good friend of the show, and he just had a birthday. Happy birthday to John. He threw out the idea for Fantastic Four where it can be kind of similar to Captain Marvel in some aspects, or Captain America, where they lived in a different time, but they've been away for so long that they're just now, a part of the modern times. Where in Fantastic Four's case, he threw out the idea of they were around in the 60s, like that team was, more, relevant and prevalent in the 50s, or 60s, around when, S.H.I.E.L.D. was just, getting its legs under them. and something happened, like something cosmic happened, like a Galactus or whatever, to where in order to save the Earth, they had to not only wipe away whatever was, about to destroy the Earth, but they had to wipe themselves out of existence. So that's why nobody remembers who the Fantastic Four was or what happened on Earth. And then, with the snap happening, that's a way you can, with the snap that happened, that's a way you can bring them back. Or with, the tearing the dimension, like Nick Fury said, that's a way you can bring them back. Which, I like that idea. I'm a fan of what they're doing in most movies. Instead of just doing origin stories, which I'm kind of done with origin stories. I don't want to see origin stories anymore. I want to see kind of like what they did with Captain Marvel, where it's like back and forth. It's not necessarily an origin story, but it's more of a quick origin story, but then you're explaining what's happening, what's going on right now. Where they kept showing well, in her case she couldn't remember it, but she was trying to piece together what happened. So that wasn't really an origin story, it was more just like she's already Captain Marvel, but she's trying to remember how she became Captain Marvel. Same thing with Spider-Man. I'm so glad they didn't kill, Uncle Ben for the 20 millionth time. They haven't really mentioned him. I think they kind of will mention him in Far From Home, like the briefcase that Peter has belonging to Uncle Ben. That's what you can do with Fantastic Four. We already know how they get their powers, so the movie can just maybe have a quick overview of what happened, and then just throw them in so that they're already a prominent team in that time. So, and that'd be pretty dope, showing the old school Fantastic Four uniforms. That'd be fucking awesome. X-Men, I'm not I don't know how they can make that happen. Because I threw out the idea, especially my former co-host, whose name shall not be mentioned. He threw out the idea, that the Phoenix Force can break the space-time continuum. They can literally go through any time they want. So, with this whole thing in Spider-Man where they're now introducing the idea of multiverses and ripping, the holes through dimensions, and with, the Phoenix Force having those powers, that could be a way you can maybe bring in the X-Men from that cast. This now recent cast of, Sophie Turner, who I think is just drop dead gorgeous. And you got Ty Sheridan as Cyclops. That'd be a way you can bring that cast in, because that cast is very new. It's not like they've been around. It's not like Hugh Jackman, who's been playing role for almost 2 decades. No, that cast is literally new. They've been Apocalypse came out in 2016. That's literally 3 years ago. So you're only gonna have those guys around for not even 5 years. I wouldn't mind seeing those guys being brought into the current MCU. Granted, the X-Men movies are a little bit more adult than, the Fox Marvel movies are a little bit more mature than, the current MCU movies, which, the MCU movies are catered to more, kids and family. Whereas, Fox Marvel is more this is more adult. We're dealing with more mature situations. But, I wouldn't mind if they brought in the current cast of the MCU. It'd be nice, because it would just be kind of weird for them to end that series and be okay, we're casting a whole new group of X-Men. Bring in that group. That group, those group of guys are very young. Not McAvoy, obviously, or Fassbender. I'm talking about the current younger X-Men. Bring them in. That would be a good move. It would make sense, especially since you're having this notion of there's multiverses. So, and if they brought in McAvoy, that'd be pretty awesome. Because I like McAvoy. I like McAvoy as Xavier. I like Fassbender as Magneto, but to be quite fair, it seems like he's been phoning it in for the past couple of movies. First Class, he was great. Days of Future Past, he was alright. And then, what's it called? Apocalypse, it just seemed like he phoned it in. But then again, it seemed like the whole script was phoned in. And now, what the fuck? Give me 1 second. Because it seems like my charger isn't working. My charger for this laptop. Okay. It was just on a couple seconds ago, and then it went off. Hopefully, that doesn't mean I need to buy a new charger, because that would suck balls. Anyways, what was I saying about McAvoy? Oh yeah, just in this movie, the current Phoenix movie, I'm kind of back and forth with it because it looks like it could be good. But at the same time, Apocalypse looked like it was going to be good. And then Apocalypse, was what it was. This looks like it could be good, but I don't know. Sophie Turner had said that she basically worked overtime to get the role right, and that the scriptwriters worked their ass off to get the role right. It looks like it could be good. For all we know, we're going to go watch the movie, and it's going to be a completely different movie than what we've seen on screen. Like, there's going to be shit that we don't expect. But I don't know, I'm getting the feeling that it might be a very underwhelming. A lot of the X-Men movies, it just seems like a lot of them are kind of hit or miss. Because, like, the first one was a classic. The first one kind of broke down barriers for superhero movies. Because, back in the day, superhero movies were very few and far between. Because, as Superman with Christopher Reeve, that kind of, that's, to this day, it's a classic, and I'll agree with that. That was classic. And then, like the mid '90s or like the late '90s, we got Blade, which that broke down barriers for superhero movies. That was a commercial success. That wasn't like a wildly huge success, like Avengers Endgame, for example. But it was still successful for its time. It was an R-rated, superhero movie that had a lot of violence, had blood, I wouldn't say blood and guts, but it had blood, and it was very successful. It's one of my faves too. For some reason, people say Part 2 is better. I would have to disagree. It's kind of forgettable. Not to say the Triple H one is memorable, but I actually like the one with Triple H in it. It was pretty funny. And then of course you had Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, which those are huge. Part 2, I think, is without a doubt the best one. And then they kept trying to copy that formula with movies like Daredevil, and Ghost Rider 1 and 2, and then Fantastic Four 1 and 2, which they just it didn't work. One thing weird about those superhero movies from that time was that a lot of the movies weren't very good, but the costumes were always very on point. Like, they were almost like comic book accurate. Like, you see Daredevil, and I actually like Daredevil with Ben Affleck. I didn't, it wasn't great. It certainly had its problems, but I personally liked it. The comic book was very accurate. Michael Clark Duncan had the accurate suit of Kingpin. And, Colin Farrell, we'll skip Colin Farrell as Bullseye. And then you had, Fantastic Four. They actually had the accurate suits. Ghost Rider, they had the comic book accurate look. And, talking about the two Punishers, one Thomas Shane, which I actually liked. And Warzone, which I'll give it this. It was like reading a Punisher comic. It was like you were literally reading a Punisher comic and it came to life. I'll give it that. But it wasn't very good either. But at a point, where was I going with this? Shit. Yeah, the X-Men movies. And then of course you can't forget the Batman Christopher Nolan trilogy, but those are good movies. With the X-Men movies, the first one was good, the second one was great. And the third one came and it's just it's not that it was terrible. It's just it didn't live up to the hype that it was given, because that was the one that tried to do the Dark Phoenix. It fell on its face. Didn't help that directors are switched, like literally switched, because Bryan Singer, and I don't know if we're supposed to mention his name anymore. He was supposed to direct it, but then he decided to do Superman Returns for whatever reason. And Brett Ratner came in, another douchebag. And I don't know, they kind of when you bring in a new director for already established series, and it just kind of ruined the formula. So, and then they tried to do it again with X-Men Origins Wolverine, which again I liked it. Was it a great movie? No, but I saw what they were trying to do with it, but it was just really all over the place. And then they kind of were able to get catch magic in a bottle with X-Men First Class, which is basically a reboot. And it was a retelling and a prequel showing how everything happened. And then you had Days of Future Past, which it did something that no director had ever done before, which was he said, I'm going to take everything that was good about the first two X-Men movies, and then I'm going to take the mistakes that was bad about the third one, and then redo it with this movie. And it worked because, Days of Future Past, it's one of my... If I had to make a top 10 list of my favorite comic book films, it'd be on there. I'm pretty sure it'd be pretty high. It's one of those movies I can watch over and over again. It's a great movie. And then Apocalypse came out, and it's like, it seemed like it was just made to be made. Because I remember when I first saw the post credits for Days of Future Past, when you see young Apocalypse and then you see his the Four Horsemen, I was like, holy shit, it's Apocalypse. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And then they kept showing the trailers, and it just looked like Apocalypse was gonna fuck shit up. And then you watch the actual movie, and you're like, I mean, I think the only good thing I could say about Apocalypse was that you saw Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and he got to be Wolverine, the type of Wolverine we wanted to see, for like 5 minutes, which is awesome. He didn't say anything; he just fucked shit up, which was awesome. And at the end, when they showed the accurate suits from the TV show, which was fucking awesome. Other than that, the movie wasn't very good. Like, it was basically a lot of talking. What I said about it was like, it was like watching a wrestling promo. Because all Apocalypse really did, because he didn't really do anything. Usually, like, villains will at least do something for the whole movie and not just wait till the end of the movie. Like, Thanos, he actually did something. In Infinity War, he did something. He fucked shit up in the whole movie. And again, I think that's kind of setting the bar a little too high when I'm putting Thanos there, or I could have even been a dick and said, the Joker did things in his movie, or Killmonger did things in his movie. Apocalypse didn't really do anything until the end of the movie. All he did was talk. He just kept saying, I'm gonna tear down this world and make a better one, Trump. But he didn't really do anything. He was very underwhelming. And and Oscar Isaac is a very good actor. I like him. I think he was the wrong choice for this movie. I think they should have chosen someone who's a little bit more physically imposing that could also act. I'm not sure who. I mean, I could be lazy and say The Rock, but I really don't know who. But yeah. And then you had Deadpool, which Deadpool, I mean, it was a part of the X-Men universe, but it wasn't really an X-Men movie when you think about it. But it's part of the X-Men universe, so we can go with that. Deadpool was a huge hit. Ryan Reynolds got a freaking Golden Globe nomination. Like, how crazy is that? I think the movie got nominated for like best comedy or something. Ryan Reynolds was literally born for that role. And this is a conversation I was having with a friend the other day, where when it comes to superhero movies, you at least have to act. I mean, granted, you don't have to be Laurence Olivier or a top-notch theater performer. That is a tour de force of an actor. Or Daniel Day-Lewis, but you have to act. You need to act. You can't just go in there and half-ass it. You need to act. I mean, they got Downey, who's one of the best actors. He has been acting for a long time. You got guys like Ruffalo, Oscar-nominated actor. You got, Michael B. Jordan, who's a great actor. And then, in the X-Men movies, you had Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart. I mean, they had good actors for those roles. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds, knocked that role out of the park, because it's one of those things where it's like they could have cast anybody for that role. They could have cast anybody who can play cynical and a smart mouth. and they still wouldn't have pulled it off half as good as Ryan Reynolds. Like, Ryan Reynolds was literally born for that role. He was already kind of a star, but that role literally made him a star. And I love Ryan Reynolds, but he hasn't always made very good movies, and I think he'll be the first person that acknowledges that. As a matter of fact, I think he acknowledges that on a daily basis. He still hasn't even seen Green Lantern. Okay. Like that's how much he'll acknowledge a lot of his bad roles. But he was born for that role of Deadpool, and in Deadpool 2. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Reynolds just says, fuck it, I'll play Deadpool for the rest of my life. Especially with the Fox and Disney deal, which, Disney, as I said, we're going to keep Deadpool the way it is. We're not going to touch it. We're going to let it be rated R. They can just literally release it as a Fox movie. That's a part of Marvel Studios. So, I'm interested to see how a Marvel Studios intro will be with Deadpool. Like, that would be interesting. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Ryan Reynolds just said, "I'll just play Deadpool until I'm dead." Because you look at Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth literally signed on to play Thor a lot longer because the assumption was that he was gonna leave after Endgame, but then he literally just came out and said, I want to play it for as long as I can. And he apparently signed a deal where he's going to be in a couple more movies. We'll get to that later. We'll finish the whole X-Men topic. And after Deadpool, you had Logan, which, to me, it's a movie that doesn't get enough recognition the way it should, because, and not to be biased, I think that was Hugh Jackman's best role. That movie, Logan. Because to us, he's always going to be Wolverine, regardless of any movies he does, or he's doing a one-man show all year, and he's actually coming to San Antonio, which I'm just like, no, I'm good. I love you, Hugh, but I don't want to hear you sing. Which he's a good singer, but I hate musicals. They make me very angry. But Logan, I think, was a masterpiece. As far as superheroes movies goes, why am I talking like an idiot? Superhero movies goes, it belongs up there with The Dark Knight, with Avengers Endgame, with Captain America: Winter Soldier, especially with The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is without a doubt the best superhero movie ever made. Logan, I think, is a close second. Just great storytelling, great acting. A very painful movie to watch because you're seeing a guy that we've seen, as Wolverine for 17 years, and he's literally on his last leg. He says in the movie, literally, I want to die. Because, Xavier finds the adamantium bullet. Or not Xavier, but, what the fuck is that guy's name? The albino guy. It'll come to me. But he finds the albino bullet, and he pretty much, Wolverine reveals, I want to kill myself. That's why I want to buy that boat, so we can, swim out to sea, and I can just shoot myself. That's literally that's another thing that I was kind of weird about the X-Men movies, is that in X-Men Origins, Stryker was saying it won't kill him, it will just slow him down. And then he shoots him in the head with an adamantium bullet, and it just wipes his memories. It doesn't kill him. So, I don't know. Anyways, I'm going off track. But Logan was a masterpiece. I think Logan, of all the X-Men property movies that they've done, that's probably their best one. I think it's possibly better than Deadpool, the first one. They're neck and neck. But I think Logan is, I would have to say, is a masterpiece. That's the thing about the X-Men movies, going back to what I said, they're either hit or miss. It seems like, and I don't want to sound like a snob or a nerd, but it's just continuity. That's the best thing about the current Marvel movies, is that they're good with continuity. They're good with acknowledging things that happen in other movies and their current movies. Like, they'll talk about something that happened 10 years ago, when it's already 2020 something. Whereas X-Men, they'll completely change a storyline and they'll expect people to forget about it. For example, in X3, they had a black guy played Bolivar Trask. And then in Days of Future Past, it was Peter Dinklage, that played, Trask. We're just so did Trask grow 6 feet taller and become a bald black man. Like that's I don't know. But going back to Phoenix, I'm hoping the movie is good. I have a feeling it might be good. Will it knock my socks off? No, because with Endgame kind of set the bar high. That's what happened with Infinity War last year. Infinity War was just so good, and it just like drained everybody. That anything else that came out after that just seemed like meh. So I think the first movie after Endgame was Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp, but it just again it was like one of those things where I'm just like, like we already know what's going to happen in this. But again, I'm hoping Dark Phoenix is very good. I'm hoping Far From Home is good, which it should be. So, yeah, June 7th. I know I'm going to be. It's going to be a good movie. Speaking of X-Men movies, New Mutants has officially been pushed to April 3rd of 2020. This movie was supposed to come out last year on Friday the 13th, and they decided to push it back. Because I remember Dark Phoenix got pushed twice, because it was supposed to come out at the end of last year. And then it got pushed to February, and then it got pushed to June officially. And then New Mutants was come out on April 13th, and it got pushed to, I think, April of this year. And now it's officially pushed to April 3rd of 2020. Like, I don't know if it's a Disney thing, but I don't know. Again, I'm going to go into that movie with an open mind and see what it's about. It's just kind of odd that this is a movie that's been constantly been pushed back for 2 years. I don't know if Disney just doesn't think much of it, because supposedly, and I'm forgetting who. I don't know if it was the writers or the producer. One of the producers of the movie had said that the reason why the movie is getting pushed back was because Disney doesn't think much of it. They're not marketing it the way it should be. Because if y'all remember, there was literally that one trailer of the movie. There's literally only been one trailer of the movie, and that's it. They haven't really put out any press for it. And the actors in it, they seem like they're happy to do it. Like they really want to do the movie. And the movie looks interesting because you're introducing the notion of this is an X-Men movie, but it's a horror movie at the same time. And as per my former co-host, he was explaining to me how everyone's powers worked, and it got me more interested for the movie. So I want to see it when it comes out, but it won't be for a very, very long time. And then there was talk of the premiering on Hulu or on the Disney Plus service, but now it's officially coming on theaters next year. So I don't know what they're going to do with this movie. I don't know if they're just going to move it again, because now it's coming out that a lot of Fox property has been kind of shelved, per the deal. It just came out that and I don't even know why this is news, that Channing Tatum's Gambit movie is officially off the schedule. To which I'm kind of hurt for Channing Tatum, because he really went above and beyond for that movie. Like, it was supposed to come out 4 years ago? 3 or 4 years ago. But, Deadpool was so good. It set the bar for, you don't just have to be PG-13 and family friendly. If you want your movie to be a little more gritty, a little bit more adult. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to fuck in the middle of the scene, but if the story you're trying to tell with your character is, I'm not trying to make him over the top, but I want him to be a little more real and a little bit more gritty, and a little bit more in your face. Deadpool set the bar for that. So when that happened, here's what I remember about it, is that when that happened, Channing Tatum realized, oh shit, I need to step my game up. So then they set another date for it, and then another director left. So then they had to be pushed back, and they got another director, and then he left. And then another director, and then he left. And it's crazy because they literally have a script. They already have a script. They already have, a cast. And it was just Channing Tatum. I think there was another person in it too. and he was a producer, and then there was like a rumor that Channing Tatum didn't want to do the movie anymore, and then he came back. So I feel bad for him because he really went out of his way to try and make this movie happen. And Gambit's a very popular. I love Gambit. They ruined him in X-Men Origins, and I think Channing Tatum could have added some star power to it, but I don't know what Marvel has in store for the character, because they're obviously going to use him sometime down the line. I don't know if they're going to use Channing Tatum in the role, because I think by the time they even want to use anybody, because I don't think Channing Tatum's a spring chicken. I think he's in his mid-30s. But supposedly they wanted to offer him a producer credit or have him make it, which that'd be interesting. But I mean, does it surprise me that Disney's kind of pushing a lot of these films back or cutting them? No, because now they own Fox. Now they can do whatever the hell they want with these characters. So any ideas that Fox had, Disney's like, well, we already have our own schedule out, and these don't fit into our schedule, so now you're out. I mean, a lot of people are complaining. The Fox deal it has a lot of its negatives, as I talked about on the show before. A lot of people are losing their jobs, which is very unfortunate, but can't do anything about it. As far as again, X-Men movies, I like them. I grew up with them. But again, I'll just agree that a lot of them are hit or miss. I'll just leave it at that. So what else are we going to talk about? Batwoman. The CW show was teased. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but a pilot was already ordered. I'm assuming it's going to come out sometime in the fall with Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose really fits into that suit. She looks fucking good in that suit, I'm not going to lie. Even though, penis makes her want to throw up, but she looks good. She looks good in that suit. Sorry, I was biting my nails. It's a bad habit. What are we going to get out of it? Is it going to be like a Supergirl thing where it's like, we'll give you the toys. We'll give you the toys out of the toy box, but we're not going to give you everything because, in Gotham, they can't even... On Gotham, they didn't even call Bruce Wayne Batman. They didn't even call the Joker because of the movies, which I think is stupid. Because it's the same fucking company, right? Well, Fox and Warner Brothers, I guess not, but that's just dumb that they couldn't even mention the names. CW and Warner Brothers, aren't they the same banner, right? Because I know what's it called? I think on Flash they mentioned Batman. They said Batman by name, and then also the Elseworlds crossovers. They were heavily mentioning Batman. And then Oliver. I'm the original vigilante. All right, so and that sucks that Stephen Amell's leaving. That'd be interesting to see Arrow and Batman in a scene here. That'd be pretty fucking awesome. But with Batwoman, they're gonna use a lot of storylines. They're more than likely going to use a lot of storylines on that show that are from Batman comics. I don't know if they'll use Joker, because like I said, I think they're only able to use certain characters for a certain amount of time, because we're more than likely going to get a Batman appearance on Batwoman, because we got Superman on Supergirl, and then we got the Elseworlds Superman. So they're more than likely going to use it. It's just going to be one of those things where, how long can they use it? Because if Supergirl can use Superman, why the hell can't Batwoman use Batman? It would be definitely interesting. I'll fucking totally mark out if that happens. What would be an interesting storyline for them to use on Batwoman? Can they do Hush? Hush would be fucking dope. I would fucking mark out for Hush. That's one of my faves. Could they do Killing Joke on Batwoman? I don't know how they would work that out because, again, Joker. A character like the Joker, he's so large. He was so much larger than life. That's a villain that I don't think you can just use for like a one-off and then send him away. But or Bane, because they showed Bane's mask on the show in Elseworlds. It was like one of those like things where you couldn't blink. They have Nora Freeze They had Nora Freeze in the crossover, who was played by Amel's wife, who was the the wife of Mr. Freeze. So could they use Mr. Freeze again? Going back to what I said, they have the toy box. They can give them any toy. Well, not any toy, but they can only give them so many toys, because I'm pretty sure WB is like, okay, we'll let you use this and this as much as you want, but we can't just give you this. We can only let you borrow it, but we have to take it back. Because Arrow had to stop using, Deathstroke because of the movie. Because they're supposedly going to do a Deathstroke movie, and that never happened. With Joe Magla, whatever, I don't know, say his fucking last name. The good looking guy with abs, who's banging Sofia Vergara. So I don't know what they're doing with that. I don't know, WB's weird. I mean, Marvel's not exactly normal, because again with the Netflix shows and AB and Agents of Shield, where they mention the movies, but Marvel never mentioned the TV shows. I just thought that was odd. I mean, they did mention the TV show where they brought in James Darcy from Agent Carter and play Jarvis. To which, when I saw that, I was like, oh shit! I leaned over my girlfriend like that. He played Jarvis in Agent Carter. Like that was interesting that they were using a character from a TV show. But never once said. I mean, because they brought back Coulson for Captain Marvel, but other than that, they never mentioned anything with Agents of Shield, which I thought was kind of fucked up. Because I guess I understand with Netflix, because Netflix and Disney are two different companies, but Disney and ABC are literally under the same banner. So I don't see why they never mentioned anything that was happening with Agents of Shield. Especially Fury. Like, why didn't he ever mention anything? So, and the Agents of Shield. And I never got into that show. I guess I just don't really like the concept. I don't know. It's just kind of boring. Seeing agents, seeing people who don't really have powers fight other people that don't have powers. Yeah, they bring in superhumans on the show, like metahumans, because they brought in and they introduced Inhumans. We don't know how that turned out. They introduced the probability of Skrulls and Kree, and they had Ghost Rider on the show, which I think that was the last time I actually watched it. And I don't know. I mean, this season's going to be their last season, and they're apparently not even going to mention anything that happened with Thanos or Endgame or Infinity War, which I think is, again, kind of fucked up. Maybe they got tired of having to mention everything that was happening in the movies and just say, you know what, fuck you. Like pretty much tell Marvel, fuck y'all, we're going to do whatever we want. If we're going to go out of our way to mention you guys, then why the hell aren't you mentioning us? Like, that's fucked up. So it's the end of an era for a lot of shows. Agents of Shield's done. Arrow's done. Arrow's going to be done next year. It's only going to have 10 episodes next season. I have a feeling a lot of shows after that. I'm pretty sure Flash might be done after that. Supergirl, I've never got into. I tried watching it. I couldn't get into it. Not that it's just bad. It's just I don't really care for it. That's just me. And then you have Legends of Tomorrow. Again, no show I just really couldn't get into. It's really too all over the place. Let's take the secondary characters in a lot of our successful shows and give them a show. It's like, no thanks. And then Black Lightning, another good show. I'm very behind on it. I don't know what CW is going to do too. Like I would assume that they're going to continue their DC verse, or I don't know what they call their current superhero lineup. I don't know if it's like the DC verse. I know it was called the Arrowverse or the Lightning verse, which is for Black Lightning. So I mean, because you have Batwoman. You saw Black Lightning. who else could they add? I'm pretty sure. Greg Berlanti, who's guy's a genius. Really really brilliant mind. For the comic book. For the current comic book. DC shows. He'll find something and make it work. That's usually how it works out. He'll find anything and make it work. He made Black Lightning work. And Black Lightning for the longest time was, he had his run, but he wasn't really a very popular character, but he made him a popular character. And that's the thing about CW. It seems like their shows are always better than Marvel shows. I mean, not the Netflix shows, but Daredevil was awesome. Daredevil was untouchable. Punisher should have been better than it was. Jessica Jones was alright. Luke Cage was good, but it didn't need 13 episodes. And Iron Fist peaked in its second season, they got canceled. I know I'm all over the place with this conversation. That's where my ADD comes out. And what else can we talk about? I guess we can talk about wrestling. Or actually, you know what? Phase 4 dates are announced. Marvel's Phase 4 dates are announced. In 2020, only 2 movies will be released. One on May 1st, one on November 6th. If I had to guess, on May 1st, that'll be Black Widow. That'll be a Black Widow movie because that's already going into production in June. So that's pretty much the Black Widow movie. November 6th, it's either going to be the Eternals or Doctor Strange. Eternals supposedly is going to start production in August. They're already getting their cast lined up. They got one of the Starks supposedly going to play the leading role, which is Icarus. It's either going to be that or Doctor Strange 2, which supposedly is going to go in production this year. It'll most likely be the Eternals in November. So we're going to have 2 Marvel movies next year. I mean, you want to count New Mutants, but I'm talking about like the current MCU movies. So, after Endgame, we're kind of going to get a break from, the Marvel universe for a while. Or, I guess after Spider-Man Far From Home, we're going to get a break from Marvel movies for a while. Which is good. You don't want to tire people out. Which, I don't think anybody will ever get tired out of superhero movies in general. I know I'm not. I know James Cameron, made the comment that he's hoping for Avengers fatigue. It's like, you're just saying that because Endgame is going to take down Avatar, because they already took down Titanic. Which, good. Good for them. I hate that movie. Fuck Titanic. I don't care what anyone says about it. I fucking hate Titanic so much. Not just because Celine Dion made that dumbass song. That's neither here from there. I just hate Titanic. I think it's the most overrated movie ever made. Let's not talk about that. But they're coming for Avatar. They're coming. I mean, because they already made $2 billion in 11 days. And now they've already taken the second spot in 13 days after just coming out. That's fucking amazing. That's just spectacular. Now they're about to take Avatar down, which another overrated ass movie. It just seems like James Cameron makes overrated movies. Except for Terminator. I love Terminator. I don't know what else he made. Other than that, I don't really care for him as a director. I think he's kind of a snobby, pricky, douchey asshole. Alright, so those are the first 2 movies in the current phase, which is going to be Phase 4. There's 6 more coming after this. I'm not sure if they're going to be a part of Phase 4. But 2021, February 12th, May 7th, and then November 5th. February 12th, I would say maybe Doctor Strange 2. May 7th and November 5th. I don't know what else they can do, because they haven't announced what else is coming up. Could it be Captain Marvel 2? Maybe. Could it be Black Panther 2? Maybe. Or maybe the third, Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. Or a third Spider-Man movie. Or, actually, I forgot about that, Guardians 3. I don't know why that slipped my mind. Guardians 3 will start production next year. So that could be a part of the lab. That could be in the May slot. So 2021, February 12th, I would say Doctor Strange 2. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, since it starts production next year, that'll definitely be the May 7th slot. November 5th, again, I don't know. I don't know of any movies that are being released soon after that. Maybe Captain Marvel 2 or Black Panther 2, or if not, Black Panther 2 can come out February 18th, 2022. May 6th and July 29th. That's tough. Maybe the third Ant-Man movie. I don't know. Or maybe one of their newer properties. It's been announced that a Nova movie is supposedly in development. And one of the Russo brothers, he was asked about it. And he said that's more of a James Gunn thing, because James Gunn is a part of that universe with the little Cosmic thing. Because the Nova cores were in Guardians. They were in the first Guardians. And I know James Gunn apparently said that he hates Nova. That's one of his least favorite characters. He wouldn't put him in a movie. So supposedly they're going to do a Nova movie. It would be up to James Gunn to introduce him. Would he introduce him in Guardians 3, even though he's not a fan of the character? Because supposedly in Guardians 3 we're getting Beta Ray Bill and hope maybe Adam Warlock, because he was teased at the end of Part 2. And, the possibility of Thor being a part of it, at the end of Endgame spoilers. That makes Guardians 3 worth watching. It might even be the best one of the bunch if he's going to be part of it. So, we don't know. I don't know. We don't know. Nobody else knows. So that's Marvel's current lineup for Phase 4. Again, I don't know if all this is going to be in Phase 4, because you have 8 movies coming out in the next 3 years. Because next year we're only going to have 2. After that, we're going back to having 3 movies per year. Which, again, I don't have a problem with that. That's pretty much the entertainment talk. Are they trying to get in? Door's open. Oh, okay, never mind. I had a hard time getting in. Are there any more groceries? No. Okay. My girlfriend just came in. I don't know what else I can talk about. Apparently Fox and USA is telling WWE and the brand split, which again doesn't surprise me. I've been throwing that out ad nauseum that I think with Fox, with SmackDown going to Fox, that they're going to end the brand split. And they're kind of teasing it since they're having Becky carry 2 belts, and then this past Monday and Tuesday, Vince threw out the wild card rule where you'd have 3 SmackDown guys on Raw, and then you have 3 Raw guys on SmackDown. So I guess that's kind of teasing a split, or that's doing something to kind of make it for the ratings. Because last week apparently it was the worst Monday Night Raw rating that wasn't a holiday episode. This week it was a jump in the ratings. It was a 2.2, which wasn't bad, but that third hour, man, the third hour was always going to kill them. Which, I'm on the notion of, I think if they got rid of that third hour, if they just went back to being 2 hours, it could really help the show. It really could, because, going back, just have Raw just be 7 to 9. I mean, back in the day it was 8 to 10 and that helped, but I think if you just do 7 to 9, it could really, really benefit the show. And now there is a possibility of SmackDown being 3 hours, which, ugh. And again, SmackDown, the ratings went up this week, but, the attendance isn't always going to help, because people do not want to sit for 3 hours and watch the same damn thing every single week. They just don't. Especially when you made WrestleMania 7.5 hours. Like, you heard reports of people literally falling asleep during WrestleMania. Like, the shows are long, and it doesn't help that they're not very good. And it's just weird because the talent's there. They have talent. This is probably the biggest group of guys that are so talented. They're so athletically stacked. But you don't have any stars. You don't have an Austin or a Rock or a Taker. You have guys that are very good in the ring, but they don't have large and life personalities. They don't look like stars. They just look like guys that you would see at a gym that do CrossFit. So I don't know. I mean, we can talk about it ad nauseum about how bad the ratings are, about how bad the shows are. But again, I'd just be copying them. I'd just be talking about the same thing. So, and I'm still a fan. I want the shows to get better, but I'm at the point of I don't even watch the shows anymore. I just watch the pay-per-views. I know it sounds bad, but I'm a news show, so I'm supposed to be giving you news about how wrestling is. But again, the shows are just really bad. So, I guess that's it. I guess that's really it. All I have on docket. All I have on the docket. The whole Lars Sullivan thing. I mean, didn't they talk about that already? Because he put out some tweets. Well, I mean, they weren't really tweets. They're more just something that more like things he put on a message board. You know, before we had tweets, we would just go on forums. And he apparently put some stuff that was, deemed, racist, homophobic, sexist, things about rape. And he had a lot to say about black people. And there was also, I guess, a tweet talking about, where he was actually talking about the McMahon pretty much saying, they don't really care about the Mexican talent. They put them up there because they have to. And someone tweeted at Biggie where he said, "Did you know about this?" And Biggie said, now I do. And if any of this is true, or he didn't put any of it, if any is true, but if this is how he really feels, my girlfriend's playing the Avengers theme in the back. If this is how he really feels, he's going to have to deal with the fact that he's a bigot. So it's interesting that Big E acknowledged it. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know if they're going to de-push him or job him out until he learns his lesson, kind of like how they did in the old school way. But I've already said I'm not really a big fan of Lars. I see him and I see what they're doing with Braun, where they made Braun a badass, and now they had a feud with SNL guys at Mania in a pre-show match. So, again, I know it's kind of negative thinking, but it's weird that they push a lot of the athletic guys, but you see a big monster in Lars, and it's like, well, he doesn't look like Drew McIntyre or Baron Corbin, so let's have him feud with Kevin Hart at WrestleMania next year. I just have a feeling that's what's going to happen with Braun. I mean, not Braun, Lars, because the only the only big guys that they push are McIntyre and Corbin and Lashley. That's literally it. A guy like Braun, who it looks like a legit monster, they don't know what to do with him. They keep giving him these weird pushes. I have a feeling that's what they're going to do with Lars. Because they haven't even had him wrestle yet. They just had him, come out and beat up Matt Hardy and R-Truth for whatever reason. So, I mean, that's obviously going to be his first feud, but they just need to do something with him because they're making him look like Lacey Evans. Okay, I'm done with the show. Shout-outs Wrestling Soup, DTKC, The Architect Podcast with Derek and Irvin. They did my show a while back. We reviewed Endgame. If you hear crunching, that's background noise. So yeah, we reviewed Endgame a while back. Listen to that episode; it was fucking awesome. You got Texas Podcast Massacre. Love those dudes. They did their show twice. They just had Kevin Castle on recently. It was a very interesting episode. Julian from the Wrestling Court, another good show. Love that dude. The Hipster City Podcast with Tyler the Trade. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Tyler the Trademark, another good show. Peter Position and Bumps and Bangers with my good friend Peter. I should listen to those. I'm trying to run through these because I'm kind of on a time crunch right now. Anyways, I'll be back next Wednesday. And that was my cat meowing that I need to get out of here and feed him. Alright, take care, guys.